हाँ
So there you go, the signal from the umpire. Lights are on. It's playtime.
The field is not at what you would call deep third man, is more like a deep point. And that's because of the angle that Arshdeep can create bowling to the right-hander. Gets the ball to move away from the right-hander, so that little bit of a push around the off-stump can get the ball there. So the Indians have done their homework. Generally find when the ball has gone to the fielder and the fielder doesn't have to move too much, that the computer guys, the bowling coaching staff have sat together and decided what sort of field should be there.
Touched on the fact that Arshdeep's asked a few questions of the left hand. It's always been when he's got the ball to shape, so that'll be the key. Does he get this ball to swing tonight to be able to put Quinton de Kock under pressure?
Very interesting to see the pace of this pitch as well, because that will dictate a lot of the field placings that happen square of the wicket.
First delivery looked like he was actually trying to swing it into Quinton de Kock. He often looks to shape it away and try and find the outside edge, and that's where he's had a lot of the success. Have a look at the seam position. Yeah, it was the other one, so he was being as cunning as possible, thinking that Quinton de Kock would expect the way swinger, but no, in swinger first. When's the way swinger coming? That's the question.
He's a clever operator. There again, tucking him up.
Let's just have a look at the South African side. Markham, de Kock, Riggleton, they've all been good touch. Brevis got a bit of a score every once in a while. Probably would want a little bit more from him. Miller and Stubbs have been sensational, finished well, even in the super overs. Marco Jansen and Corbin Bosch add a lot of batting depth to this batting lineup. And then you've got their bowling options as well. So South Africa will be confident about the way they're playing, but they have to produce once again.
Just seeing the pace of this pitch already, it's a little bit on the slower side. Marker mentioned it's dry, that's why he wants to bat first. Indian team unchanged. Tough choice was Akshar Patel or Ashwin Sundar. They opted for the off-spinner. Two strong sides with a lot of depth. Batting and variety in bowling. This pitch for some time. It's last time India played with a strip at the right, as we see from the commentary box.
So much work goes into it, doesn't it? And they have the odd sleepless night, hoping that when it gets to game time that it plays according to what their plan was. For the first 5 deliveries, looks pretty good.
Struck outside the line. He was looking to just paddle it around the corner. Leg by signal. So after the first over, it's 4 for no loss. it's a massive country. Some incredible structures you're seeing there in the background. Gateway of India, the Taj Mahal. And India has a very good record in T20 World Cup cricket. 70% of the matches they won. They're on a roll at the moment. They did lose a game in the 2024 World Cup. Still unbeaten this World Cup. Thickish outside edge.
Jasper Bumrah possesses some wonderful X factor. He's a very unorthodox bowler. It's not something that you'll face on a regular basis. It's a lot that's different to an orthodox bowling action. Gets the ball to move through the air, off the seam. Wonderful exponent, and I want to keep him a little bit for the death, but also there's that opportunity that he can crack a game open at the start of the innings, pick up a wicket or two in his first over. So understandably, they've gone to him, and they'll be hoping he can make some inroads here.
And again, the odd ball might just stop on the batsman, so you might see some variation in pace from the bowlers. Two experienced umpires for today's game. Chris Gaffney from New Zealand, 55th game for him. And Richard Kettleborough, and his 45th game from England. Inside edge, Rinku Singh, very good in the deep.
He certainly is. He can save you runs. He's such a sure catch as well. Look at the way he gets towards the ball, gets rid of the ball pretty quickly as well. So that if the batters are thinking of going for an extra run, that is not happening.
Probably just 9 deliveries ball. There seems to be just a little bit of holding in the surface, just holding, standing up a little bit. South Africa played the 3 games where they could just stand and hit through the line. Not quite the case. They're going to have to adjust to the surface.
Have to, because it is stopping. That's in the air, but in the gap, and the first boundary of the innings. So full toss put away.
You saw the reaction of Jasper Bumrah. He was very cross with himself. He might have been thinking Yorker maybe could shape it in and try and get through the defences. But Quinton de Kock's not going to miss out on a knee half full toss. Just opens up the face. The only worry he would have had is to pick out a fielder. It was far from it. And there's the first boundary for South Africa.
Now there's a short third, there's a backward point cover. Right through his defence. De Kock heading across the line. And Bumrah striking in the first over.
Well, having hit that boundary, he thought that he'll go for another one. Over the bowler, over mid-on. Both fielders in the 30-meter circles are looking to take advantage of that. But the ball wasn't quite where he thought it would be, because that is what Bumrah can bring to the table. Look at that. It is short of a leg. It is a delivery not pitched up, not the one in the slot, playing across the line. Hits the top of the middle stump. He can't believe it, Quinton de Kock, but he can watch the replays in the change room and he'll know that he's been bowled for 6, 10 for 1.
So it's 10 for 1. South Africa winning the toss, batting first, lost Quinton de Kock. Ryan Rickleton has made his way out to the centre.
So
Rickleton change in angle for Bumrah. Decides to come over the wicket. See his aim was to tuck up Quinton de Kock. Still a slip in place. Oh, beauty. Goes past the outside edge. After 2 overs, it's 10 for 1. So the crowd filling up. Great atmosphere. See the crowd of 80,000 plus expected. There is a man in the deep.
Once again, field placing. Have a look at that. Straight down to where the fielder is. That is a super field placing by the Indian captain. Would have been a boundary otherwise because it was hit so well by Markram. The funny thing, it doesn't matter what format it is, the old principles of cricket of top of the stumps is always going to be effective. That's the delivery. Trying to force the issue, Quinton de Kock, to a perfect length delivery. He's had his issues with length deliveries. If it's over pitched, he'll hammer you away. If it's a full toss, he'll hammer you away. Back of a length, he's pretty good at dealing with that. But top of off, top of leg, top of middle, the principles don't change. If you hit that area, you're going to ask questions.
There's already signs that on this pitch you've got to target the stumps and just back off a length. There's no real pace for the batsman to play with. And Bumrah has done exactly that. Watch the length. Just back off a length, hitting the top of the stumps.
अभी तूने वजू करा सही है
Adapts to the conditions.
सुन गौर से सुनना
Zeros in on the right area.
नहीं अभी तूने नहीं कर बेटा रख दे यहाँ बात कर रहा हूँ
यार बात तूने पढ़ ली
बात में पढ़ ली अभी फिर तूने वजू करने के बाद तूने क्या खाया स्टार्ट कर तुझे पता है नमाज के साथ भी वजू करके कुछ खाना नहीं होता जा दोबारा वजू क्यों खाया फिर जेली ऐसा होता है समझा रहा जा तो दोबारा पागल वागल नहीं होता इसमें
But again, the ball might have stopped a little bit on him. And you can see that didn't quite get the elevation that he wanted. Straight down. Hardik Pandya stopped. He's not going to miss that. It's a big wicket. Second wicket gone. 12. And Markram has gone for
इसको आप बुला लो नमाज नहीं पढ़ने देगा
So 12 for 2. Dimmer Primus comes out to the middle at number 4. Interesting to see his tactics now that South Africa have lost 2 wickets. I think they've got to rethink about what's the score, what are these conditions like, and adapt to it pretty quickly. This is nowhere near the pitch we saw when these two teams played last time around here in a bilateral. This one on the slower side, so you've got to reevaluate the scores.
That's just the bowling as well, Ravi. The bowling's been good. It was just the one delivery, that full toss from Burma that was put away. But besides that, there's been nothing for South Africa to work with. They're trying to force the issue, and they haven't thought maybe about the surface and the fact that it's holding up. If you're going to try and force the issue, it has to go up and over. You can't look to go flat and try and hit it through the field. Because it's just holding up that touch. You need to use the slower nature to get the right elevation. So they've been put onto the back foot after winning the toss, deciding to bat first. Who can step up and try and pull them up, or will India continue to dominate?
That's a long way. It's gone a long way into the crowd. Just picking it up beautifully, Rickleton. And a 6 to end the over, 19 for 2.
Yeah, we said their bowling's been so good. This is the only drag down. This is the first drag down. Kind of no man's land. Comes in below chest high. Rickleton just swivels and says, "Thank you very much. I'll get my innings started with one of those." Beautiful shot.
So 6 to end the over. Some cheer for the South African supporters. But these are two exciting players at the crease, Travis and Rickleton. They'll be hoping for a partnership of sorts. So still Bumrah. Right on the money again.
He bowled such a good over, had Arshdeep Singh. And then he bowls this one halfway down the pitch, and Rickleton quick to seize on that. Very good shot, would have been a 6 anyway. And it's just the kind of breaking the rhythm kind of shot that the batting side wants when they've lost a couple of early wickets.
He's once again sticking to targeting the stumps. You can see the number of wickets he gets bowled. Whether it's the slower delivery or the length delivery, he's at the stumps all the time. That's why he knocks over the pole so often. And again today.
Bowls wide in the crease compared to a lot of the other bowlers, but with that angle, he's so effective at hitting a good length and targeting the stumps. Most missiles are bowled. No surprise to see Mitchell Starc, Lasith Malinga in there.
So Arshdeep Singh, Bumrah, a wicket apiece. Just closing in on Ravichandran Ashwin. 32 wickets for him, 24 matches. Bumrah 31, Arshdeep 31. And just the 18 matches for Arshdeep Singh. Hardik Pandya in the list as well.
This is excellent work by Tilak Verma. And look at that, Bumrah applauding, because that's what bowlers want. Bowlers want wholehearted effort on the field. That's what they're getting at the moment. They're certainly better with those 2 early wickets.
A subtle field change there. He's got a man at short third, but the sweeper has gone to backward point of the fence. Chipped in the air, and another wicket goes. Beautifully bowled. And this is a master at work.
Gambia talk about Bumrah as a genius. I tell you what, he's not far off if he isn't off. This is a wonderful change of pace, and it's done for Rickleton. Completely done for him. Look how he just rolled his fingers across it. And he wasn't in position, out in front of himself early. You can almost see him squirm as he realizes that he's been done, hoping that it works out. No, it doesn't. Just chipped up in the air. What a brilliant start this for India. Losing the toss, but not losing the plot of the ball, being unbelievable with the ball, asking the right questions, picking up the right results. 3 wickets down. Rickleton goes for 7, 20 for 3.
So David Miller will need all his experience to come to play here with South Africa in more than a spot of bother here. 20 for 3 from 4. Some brilliant stuff from Bumrah.
When you have a look at this wicket, you see the run-up. Everything till the last second is as if he's going to bowl a normal speed ball, and then just bowling that slower delivery. And he's held the ball seam up. So even if the batter has got sharp eyes, he thinks it's going to be a seam up delivery. Fingers close together. This is, as you said, Ravi, a master at work. A genius at work. This is absolutely magical.
He bowls it with the same arm speed. That's what foxes the batsman. Now a spin test. And he'll get something out of the surface, because if the ball's stopping, then normally a spinner does come into play.
Yeah, I was just about to say, it's pretty difficult to deal with Bumrah. Just throw Chakravarti into the equation. I don't know what he's missing, the 5, 2 and 4% there. I personally don't know what he's missing.
Should get 2. Just reading the conditions. This is where we talk about Bumrah's skill, but that's an art. That's an ability to adapt and adjust once you see the pace of the track. He knew that slower one was up his sleeve at some stage or the other. Outside edge. They need that, South Africa.
Yeah, just the second 4 of the day. It's fortunate, and South Africa will definitely take it at this stage. Outside edge, he's pushing to try and play it straight. It goes down nice and fine and charges the way to the fence. Fortunate.
That's it. Over mid off. So consecutive boundaries. This one with a lot more authority.
And it tells you that David Miller is not going to potter around if he feels that there is an opportunity to go over the top. And with the fielders in the 30-meter circle, he's taken the aerial route. Safe, very safe.
Oh, doesn't find the gap. He'll be disappointed. Opportunity was there. 11 off the over. After 5, it's 31 for 3.
Right now, one over left of the power play. It's been a tough one for South Africa. First time 3 down in a power play in the World Cup so far. India have been absolutely brilliant with the ball. Now it's time for a little bit of adaptation with these two batters at the crease. They've got work to do. And that's because the Indian bowlers have been so good. And not surprising that it's led by Jasprit Bumrah, DK.
Yeah, why are we surprised looking at that? Gets a wicket first up and then completely bamboozles Ryan Rickleton. We have Temba Bauma with us, someone who's played Jasprit Bumrah off late. Do you pick that slow one, Temba?
I'm still struggling to pick that slow one, Dinesh. It's been a tough start here for the Proteas. Winning the toss and electing to bat. This is definitely wouldn't be in the plans. Still got this last over here in the power play. Don't want to protect that wicket column.
No doubt. The coach had high praise for him as well.
Kind of a banker where you know that every time you're behind the game, you can throw the ball to Jasprit Bumrah, and more often than not, he's going to deliver. For me, I think I've not used this word for a lot of people, but I think for me, he's actually a genius.
You open up a dictionary, look for the word genius, and I reckon next to it says Jasprit Bumrah.
I'm just surprised the coach thought so much to use that word for Jasprit Bumrah because it's very apt for a man like him, the skills that he has. And he's been so consistent over a period of time.
Gets it through. You'll hear the silence now around the ground. South Africa pick up a much-needed boundary in this power play.
Much needed boundary there from the Proteas. It's been tough going here in this power play. David Miller, they're getting a little bit of length, managing it to muscle through that mid-wicket. They want to finish off this power play as best as they can here, South Africa. Good start so far here by David Miller, 14 of 7 balls already. They want to keep going and going.
Just under 7 to the over. South Africa have lost 3 wickets for the first time in the first 6 overs when you can have those two fielders out of the 30-yard circle. This time in this World Cup, they've really struggled with the bat in the power play. Punches, lovely by David Miller. The timing is excellent.
Beautiful timing there by David. Through the offside this time, not the onside. Looks like he's found it quite easy batting here on this surface. I think that's just a pure textbook shot that.
It also tells you the state of the pitch, Natalie. Yes, we have found some wickets falling around Miller and Brevis so far, but it's all not due to swing or a bit of seam movement. It's all the class of someone like Bumrah, and Arshdeep obviously induced the wicket of Markram as well. It's been a power play that's dominated by wickets, but Miller's looking good here.
CEO of Google, Sundar Pichai, and Sonny Gavaskar walked out with the trophy earlier on. It's a special moment to get near that trophy. India's done it a few times. 18 from 9. He's been quite solid so far. It's 41 for 3. Toughest power play so far with the bat for South Africa. Let's have a drink. Absolutely brilliant by India so far. I don't think they could have asked for much better within those first 6 overs. Jasprit Bumrah and Arshdeep Singh set a good tone. They were able to bring on Chakravarti quite early in the power play as well. It's just his 3rd over in the power play in this World Cup so far. And it gave them that opportunity to bring him on early because they'd started so well. I don't know that India could have done much more within that power play.
Having been put into bowl, I think India have done themselves a world of good here, picking up 3 wickets, and 3 important wickets considering how well Markram has batted in this tournament so far. We all know how dangerous Quinton and Rickleton can be. But the key now is the fact that Washington Sundar is part of the 11 tells you they backed themselves to bowl into the left-handers. 2 of the left-handers are gone now. So they need to be quick on their feet to think how much they need to change their plans as well. We're going to see Hardik come into action very soon. And how much of Washington are they willing to use through that middle period?
Timbo, it was South Africa that won the toss and said they were happy to have a bat first, but it looked like the pitch was a little tough in the beginning.
Yeah, the South Africans they struggled to adapt to the conditions. Not really has been playing the same way as Ahmedabad has been playing. I think for India, the ability to take wickets at France has really come through. The partnership there between Miller as well as Brevis. I think they've got a long task ahead of them here. Been ruthless here from the Indian team with their bowling, not giving them anything. But they'll have to keep going here, the South Africans.
This is why they've been so good. These groupings have been very good. Taking balls, been on a length, one just slightly fuller, but it was more about the surface initially and it's sticking in the surface a touch and standing up in South Africa, just taking a little time to adapt to the conditions out in the middle. Spent time at this ground so they know it well, but the surface just a little different to start off tonight. India taking full advantage of that as they should. This is the final before the final. That all remains to be seen. But what we do know from the first 6 overs is that India have been absolutely brilliant, right on target. Now, how does South Africa approach this next phase? During the SA20, Diavon Brevis came in with his team at 7 for 5 in the power play. Victoria Capitals were in all sorts of trouble and he put together an unbelievable innings, one of real maturity. And it's something that many people have been calling for from him again at this World Cup, to show that maturity, show what he can do. Prime opportunity to do it. And a lot of chat about this man, DK, his selection within the side. No Akshar Patel.
And the main reason why he's brought in is to bowl to the left-handers, but 2 out of the 3 left-handers have dismissed themselves in the power play. So how they use Washington Sundar is going to be very interesting. And how many overs as well. We know that Brevis matches up against off-spin quite nicely. He likes an off-spinner, doesn't think twice going downtown, and he hits those long balls as well. Now, are they going to use an over or 2 and then probably Dubey or Hardik to finish up the rest? That is a decision for Surya, but let's just see how Washington reacts here.
And his placement, and he might have been looking for on that offside, considering the field that he's got.
Yeah, it's a crack of a shot there by Brevis, managing to beat the man at deep extra cover. getting a little bit of length, giving himself room, and putting that delivery away. I think I'm quite superbly interested as to how he goes about this passage of play. We know that he likes to put on the spinners. Situation of the game might say he needs to build it up, but I think his X factor is opportunity for it to come through now.
Much better length at Natalie. He pulled it slightly shorter on the first one, slightly defensive length, knowing that anything that's slightly fuller, Brevis loves a step hit. So you're under pressure as a off spinner bowling to somebody like Devol Brevis, where you need to make sure the length is more towards you than towards the batter. The second ball, he's pulled it up quite nicely here. There we go, another one slightly shorter, probably thinking of giving him the single. Ideally, this is what he wanted to do the first ball as well, but it was on the offside, so Brevis ended up creaming it. So this is the challenge. He'll be a lot more comfortable bowling to David Miller here. He knows the matchups are in his favour.
I think for a young guy like Brevis, batting with the David Miller, wealth of experience, he knows conditions, he knows his situations. He'll really be looking for that guidance as to how he can go through this period superbly well. But at the moment, Brevis seems like he's got his finger on the pulse.
Result probably India might have wanted at this stage to have Miller on strike. Has a little look around at the field. Strong leg side field on the boundary, as you expect from Miller. Goes through to the offside on this occasion, though. Certainly a talent for South Africa, no doubt about it. He needs 4 sixes for 50 in T20 internationals. Rabada, but later on, 4 wickets for 300 in T20s. And Ishan Kishan, how good has he been? Just one away from 300 in T20s.
Temba, I can promise you, Brevis is looking to hit a 6 of every ball. If the length is not there, then the last thought on his mind is to take that single. And you can imagine the amount of pressure that must be putting on someone like Washington Sundar. Ideally, whenever he bowls, he prefers David Miller on strike. Now, this is a matchup he's looking for now. Is he looking to get him out, or is he just happy bowling dot balls? That's the question.
Well, to make some room for himself, and that has flown across the turf. He wins that little battle. It's 52 for 3.
Tossing it up a little bit more, the attacking length that we spoke about, but this pitch is a beauty, not too much turn. Miller in good form, backing himself to get that covers gap. Great effort by Tilak Verma, but not good enough.
Great support for India, as you would expect. Turned out in their numbers today. Simple partnership building. 32 from 19. Now India looking to break this. Not able to do it with Hardik Pandya. Hardik Pandya will come into the attack soon, but on a start, it has been already a tough one for the Proteas. Jasprit Bumrah has been just brilliant. Rashdeep Singh, he's someone you'd always want in your side, and very good with that new ball today. Now, Hardik Pandya, what is the length that he's looking for on the surface? What is his plans? Does he feel at this stage of the game is the way to go? Along off the back. Easy single for South Africa.
This is a crucial little spell from Hardik Pandya. And why I say that, because if he's able to bowl 4 good overs, then that eases the pressure on Surya Kumar. He'd then have to think between Shivam Dube and Washington Sundar. But in case Hardik gets hit, there'll be a lot of pressure on Surya to try and finish the overs up with probably a Tilak, or even go to a Rinku, which he did in that Pakistan game. So if Hardik is such a key part of this puzzle, he is going to get 12 overs between Bumrah, Arshdeep and Varun. But the other 8, he's got to make sure that they're as good as possible from these 3 bowlers. Dube, Washington and Hardik. And Hardik is an important piece here.
1 for 40 in his 3 against the Netherlands at this ground. Was on surface just to the one side, but also had a much shorter boundary as well. Boundary on the one side. Has had a couple of good games though before that, picking up 4 wickets in 2 games.
So far it's looked like a pitch, Demba, where if you just come and hit the seam, there is something in it for the pacer. Just speaking to the curator before the game, he was saying there's a proper black soil pitch, a few cracks, and we heard Sean Pollock and Ravi Shastri speak about how it's going to be a little slower than normal. Considering where the score is, what do you think is a good score, Demba?
Yeah, definitely DK. I think from now it's all been the seamers. The seamers have been the ones to get the wickets. Also been the ones to apply pressure on the South Africans. So the way that they manage their bowlers, I think, is going to be very important. In terms of a score, I mean, if you look at the projected score, 140, 166, I think South Africa anywhere around that 170, 175 mark, they're going to have to do well to get there. But I think that will be a competitive score.
Setting up the surface a little bit.
I think with that DK as well, I mean, a guy like David Miller, the way that he started, if he goes on and continues to bat another 5-10 overs, then that projected score can easily jump up to anything over 180. And the longer they're able to stretch this partnership, Brevis as well, we know what he can do in terms of clearing the boundary. Anything is possible in terms of that target score.
And that previous one is a great example. Hardik will look to keep peppering him with the bouncers. And the bilateral happened between South Africa and India. They did bowl a lot of bouncers and slower bumpers to Brevis.
Yep, struggled in the t20 as well with that shorter ball too. Something teams used a lot against him. But he is big on his preparation, isn't he? What's the type of things he might be working on in the nets ahead of a game like this?
Well, straight away you can see he's working on his bat swing. And it comes very naturally to him. He's got a flat batted bat swing. And that's why he clears so well every time, even remotely close to middling the ball. The ball goes a long way just because of the purity in the swing is beautiful when he plays spin. And that's one of his super strengths, coming from South Africa, having such a natural, beautiful swing against the spinners.
Just be 4 singles off that over. That is 56 for 3. The Rainbow Nation has so much to offer, from incredible wildlife. We will go on safari in South Africa, and of course Cape Town offers something pretty special with regards to scenery. South Africa within the World Cup, they record their best performance, runners-up in 2024. So we're hoping to boost their win percentage tonight. However, India have not lost a World Cup match in the T20 World Cup, that is, since Adelaide in 2022.
At this point of time, I'm sandwiched between two South Africans. To my left, Natalie, to my right, Temba. And I must admit, a small little song that I really enjoyed was Temba Bauma, and we'll come to that. But what Varun has done really well, consistently, not only in this tournament, but in general since the time he's made a comeback, is how close he has been to the stumps. Always targeting the stumps. We always speak about how it is effective in T20s. And Varun has been solid, and as we say, that's a massive 6 there. Varun stumps, but Miller saying, okay, let me show you how far this can travel.
Yeah, that was right there in his arc, Miller. You know what he can do with those tip hits there. Wasn't really wondering about which way it's turning. Just got his hands through the ball. Fortunately for South Africa, he's got the maximum. Again, spinners are being put under pressure on this type of wicket. I think that might be the play from South Africa, to try to put the spinners under pressure.
Barring the previous ball, which has gone for a 6, what Varun's done nicely is keep the stumps in play, which he's done consistently. And that's an area that he's worked. And also his average speed between 2020 and 2023 was around the 94 mark. And when he made a comeback into the Indian team, he made a conscious effort quicker at the stumps. And he's almost taken it to 90. And you can understand why. Because A, you can't pick him, but also his length is immaculate.
Very nicely played. Yet again, placement so important here. Just a little bit of width.
A little bit more invention that from Brevis, giving off some room, being able to cut that and be point, as well as a man on the boundary. Not much really off the pitch for the spinner. Beautiful shot there by Brevis to keep the pressure on. South Africa being able here to gain a little bit of momentum into their innings.
That's the shot he is known for. There's almost that no-look six. Head down and through the ball.
This is outstanding batting from Brevis and Miller. 50 of the partnership comes up. They were struggling at 20 for 3, and this has put them back on the map. And another Deval Brevis special here, backing his swing, what he's just done in practice in the last couple of days. This is beautiful to watch, but most importantly, gets the direction, gets the distance, and he's put India under immense pressure.
You see what happens when you sit between two South Africans?
I'm going to tell the director to change up my roster very soon.
That's a 50 partnership that between Brevis and Miller, dominated a little bit by David. I think, like you said, that DK, if it's there in half Brevis, he's going to have a go at it. He's got condition on his side, shorter straight boundaries. Sure, if it's there, he'll go again.
17 from that over, 73 for 3.
Hands coming through nicely. Bat almost not turning in his hands, telling you what a good impact he had on that one. Got some big guns as well, Kefa.
To be honest with DK, I never see him in the gym. Young Brevis is always on his technique. He's always thinking about how far he can hit the ball. The guy who keeps it very simple. You speak to him in the game, there's not much thrills about it all. He just literally watches the ball and tries to hit it as far as he can.
Hardik Pandya, well, his first over was very good. We've seen the spinners again go for runs. We've spoken about this on this surface here, this ground. Traditionally, the seamers do better. Spinners have just struggled a little bit, even though Chakravarti in that game against South Africa picked up 4. That was back in December. Seamers generally be better on the surface.
I think South Africa has matched up nicely with 11 as well. Why I say that is just the one spinner in Maharaj, and obviously we have Markram. But the key is the pacers have something to work with. Every time Hardik has just come, he's only bowling early 130, so he's not bowling quick, but he's just hitting a length there and allowing the pitch to do the rest. And so far, South Africa haven't taken on the fast bowling thing as you've come to expect over the years. Comes quickly to the ball, releases it nicely as well. It's not going to be too long before we see Shivam Dubey in action. And then we got to see what Brevis is going to do. And Miller, for that matter. Are they going to take him on? Or are they just going to play him normally and see if they can apply pressure every time a spinner comes on? These are the challenges that's going to come up in this next phase of 10 overs. And as Temba said, a 170 looks very possible. But is that going to be enough? That's the big question.
Tight bowling this there by Hardik. As well hasn't given the batters much to work with. I think just speaking to the whole narrative about this wicket really suiting the seamers. I think like you said, DK, South Africa, they bowl their bowling around their seamers. They're going to want to use that X factor in having the extra bit of pace.
South Africa were 20 for 3.
And they needed a partnership. It was pretty obvious that they needed one.
So they turned to Deval Brevis and David Miller to put the runs on for them, and they've actually done it in good time, considering the situation they were in. 56 or 35. Not David Miller initially, who's going at 160 strike rate. And now Devon Brevis has just started to pick up himself. He's currently got 23 from 16. Dovetailing quite well at the moment. Well, he's just sized up the conditions well.
I think one of the strengths of the South African batted as well is that whenever the guys have found themselves in situations of pressure, having lost early wickets, they've still managed to keep the intent, or at least look to keep up the intent, look to put the bowlers under pressure. I think with a little bit of momentum that they're able to achieve, always allows all the other guys coming in, the back end, the big hitters, to carry it on.
Brilliant by Hardik Pandya. A couple of excellent overs. 10 overs, South Africa 77 for 3.
That's a little bit criminal from Hardik Pandya. Everyone's going to have to move back into position. It wasn't a big one, but it doesn't have to be. If you're on the line, unfortunately, there's no coming back. And this is maybe what David Miller was looking for when it comes to facing Hardik Pandya. He's been really good. 1.5 overs, 0 for 9. Now Miller can express himself. Chance for South Africa to end off this over well. It's been a good one for India. What can David Miller do? He can middle it. That's what he can do. He can take the over for 11. And that is wonderfully struck. So after 10, it was looking like it was going to be 78. It's now 84 for 3.
This is magnificent batting. This is a magnificent counter-attack from South Africa. And right from the outset, there's not been a negative bone in the body of David Miller. The way he's come out, the way he's counter-punched, he's turned this game on its head. They were reeling, losing 3 wickets. Suddenly now, after 10, they're going at over 8s.
Say this is basically a home ground. David Miller, he's played enough cricket yet to make it feel that way. Lots of instruction for Devon Brevis. He's given him some strict instructions there, to be brutally honest. Probably something along the line, do not throw this away. We've done well, stay here with me.
Just the approach of both these players, you must give them credit. You could have come out there, say we got to rebuild, but once Miller hit his straps early, he's not looked back. Brevis has grown in confidence as well. So it's a stunning partnership. 64 from just 38.
Shriven Dubey to the crease now, and I wonder if that's the reason why David Miller was so animated. Against the inside edge, no run will be added. Robin Utuba, how about this for power?
Power's been exhilarating in this game. The screws out of this one. It's a stand and deliver, wasn't it? He was ready for it. More often than not, Hardik does go back to the short ball. It's one of his trusted deliveries. Paid the price because the two is so much.
Twice now hasn't managed to find the time and picked out the fielder. As we said, there was some animated chat between David Miller and Devon Brevis. He knows how lethal Brevis can be, and he wants to make sure that he does not toss this away. There's a couple of dot balls, just suck that up. They lost the impetus at the start of the innings, 20 for 3. They've grabbed a bit of it back, but they want this partnership to continue. It's been 64 or 40.
And the reason he had that chat was they're 6 hitters, both these players. He's looking to bowl wide, stay away from the arc of Brevis. Shivam Dube overstretched himself on that occasion. When you have that ability to hit those sixes, then even if you play 2 or 3 dot balls, the ability to just convert at the back end with those sixes is quite amazing, and that's what David Miller would have told him.
Shivam Dube's trying to get Brevis to target the offside. He's got to field it very straight. You can see Brevis is moving across, chips it over that man at short extra cover. I'll be back for 2.
That's good running that. You can see from the first ball that Shivam Dube is taking the defensive route here. Pulling way outside off stump, trying to force the batters to hit the longer side of the boundary. And in doing that, and I suspect Shivam has not backed himself here a little bit. He's generally someone who gets wickets for India at this stage.
That's muscled brilliantly. That's pure power. The man is wide at a deepish extra cover, so not at the orthodox long off position. And Brevis has hammered that quick enough that he had absolutely no chance to cut it off.
This is brilliant batting. What he's done here is walked across his stumps, got closer to the line of the ball so that he could hit into straight field. He had seen the man was wide at long off, so he picked his spot beautifully. Because he knew where Shivam Dube was bowling. He was going wide, wider, and testing him.
It's an interesting field, isn't it? I mean, there's no one behind square on the leg side. There's just Bumrah at like a short backup square leg. And that's why the reason he's trying to hammer it out that wide. The protection's all on the offside. And Brevis is jumping across saying, please, just drift too straight.
Offside.
Yeah, there's the leg side field. You can just see no one anywhere near the umpire. And then there's the strong offside field with that man at long on very straight. And there's how wide the man at, what do we call him? The extra cover rather than a mid-off.
That's why he's targeting, look to go over the bowler's head as well, to an orthodox mid-off position.
It's full toss and he's dragged that one as well. So this plan is not working. The execution not quite where it needs to be. Deval Brevis says, thank you very much.
This is not where you want to bowl to Deval Brevis. These are free hits for him. Full toss. The kind of sixes that he hits. This was a gift.
Absolute gift. His eyes lit up there. He said, I don't need the offside. I don't need the onside either. I'm going to clear everything. He's got the power.
It's a bit like a baseball pitch. Came at that perfect height just to be smashed away. Full toss again and hammers that square. That will be cut off. And a very good over for South Africa. 15 from it, 99 for 3.
Massive crowd in. Mentioned they're looking for a crowd in excess of 80,000 today. We will get the official count as the evening progresses. But it's a terrific stadium, this. Massive. Easily the biggest cricket ground in the world.
Game from an Indian perspective, get them as into the game as possible and as loud as possible. South Africa, keep them as quiet as possible. Queuing up to come into the ground. A lot of people gathered early, wanted to get into their seats, soak up the atmosphere, see the players warming up, get ready for the big game. India started well, South Africa trying to punch back. Nicely poised at the stage.
They have punched back. They're going at 9s. That's a terrific recovery.
It's carved behind square. They should be able to touch and move. No, they decide against the second.
Yeah, they're taking one to the cleaners, haven't they? Doing so pushed him to also bowl more defensively. He's someone who's actually bowled pretty well in the right areas. That's been his secret sauce. But they've taken advantage of that length tonight.
Imagine they were 20 for 3. South Africa. Way behind the 8. Now, 80 has been added since then. Just 47 deliveries.
That one's wide. We don't often often see that from him. Maybe he got the feeling that Miller was going to run at him, because you kind of don't feel that Varun Chakravarti can bowl that by mistake.
I think he wants to stay away from the straight for Miller, because Miller is not stepping out. He's giving himself room. He wants to go over straight field. That's true. The rare misfield. The boundaries, sixes beginning to flow here for South Africa.
Yeah, the South African strategy of showing the stumps to Varun Chakravarti, I think he's got such a mystery that people often get into a rut, trying to watch the ball and deal with the different variations, where South Africa said, listen, there's my stumps, you bowl at them, and if we recognize the length, we're going to hammer it away. That was struck with some good power.
You could see what you're saying, Paulie. They've done their homework. Just from the beginning, the way he's played Chakravarti. Is exactly what you're saying. He's shown the stumps, and if it's pitched up, he's prepared to go down the ground or over straight field. Any room on offer, he's punched off the back foot.
It's almost like they've decided that they're going to play him off the back foot and then force him to pitch the ball up and then take him down. You could see at the start of his spell, and he pulled his first over, they were playing more off the back foot and showing the stumps. And then by virtue of that, forced him to pitch the ball up and then took him down. And now he's under pressure.
Can you believe 2.3 overs, 0 for 35 for Varun Chakravarti? You saw on the left of screen earlier the stats of this tournament. It's been 2 for 3 for. He's gone at no economy rate. Shows the stumps again, charged through. I don't know if there was a ledge. Wait and see for the umpire's call. No, bars.
Didn't miss the stumps by much. He's giving himself room. Extra bounce is what did Ishan Kishan there. He gets the top spin.
Well, you'll be thinking about bringing someone like Bumrah back on here just to get that breakthrough, put a little bit of pressure on South Africa.
David Miller, I don't know if you heard him in the stump mark. He went, he thought he'd maybe hold it up. Attacks the stumps as often as possible, balls in all phases. He's man for all weather. With the storm, put him under pressure. Once again, he's got him to think different. Normally attack the stumps, now he's thinking, should I follow the batter? And that's why that one sent down the leg side. So South Africa definitely have got in for Chakravarti tonight. It's not a space he's had to worry about too much. Wide on the offside.
And you're right. The confusion has caused him. You've not seen him change the angle so often. So he's been made to think over the wicket, round the wicket, trying different things. Being called for a wide leg side, now offside.
Analysis we did showed him attack the stumps as often as possible. That one he does. And Brevis is looking for 2. Will not get it. But another good over against Varun Chakravarti. 12 off it. 111 for 3. How long has these reintroduced? They need a wicket. This partnership is now 91. What options will they be using going forward?
Don't seem like they'll go back to Washington Sundar. The Dubey anytime soon. Maybe Hardik another over at this point in time. They can't afford to use perhaps afford to bring back Bumrah now because he's got 2 and then Ashdeep's got 1. Sure.
So too big for B to continue. 1 over, 0 for 15 for him. Same plan this time. It might have worked. He's cut across it. Is it enough? Yes, it is. His heart would have been in his mouth. Jibble Brevis. He He was waiting his fate, and it just works out for him.
He's a tall man, Washington Sundar, but not tall enough here to grab this lower delivery. He's got it at the bottom of the bat, but it still manages to go the distance. Just needed a couple more inches on him to be able to grab that one in.
In the air again, this time it should be taken. Against Abhishek gathers there. Yes, it is. So it's the back of a length delivery that does for Brevis. The partnership is broken for 97, and that's a huge blow for India.
He went for the slow short ball again. And this time he skied it. Went into the shot slightly early, I reckon. Did middle it. He likes to hit the ball in the air when he plays the pull shot. Oftentimes get more height than distance on it. This time again, trying to hit in the air, but knew immediately that was gone.
That was the moment. Sheikh steadies himself and under the pressure takes a comfortable catch. But South Africa looking good. See what it means to Shivam Dube. See what it means to India. An important wicket. Good innings from Brevis. 45 of 29. 117 for 4. Next man to the crease. He'll be happier walking in with South Africa 117 for 4 than where they found themselves at 20 for 3. Stubbs took over the captaincy of the Sunrisers, the Eastern Cape and the t20. Took over the captaincy from Aidan Markram, and it really looked like it matured him as a cricketer. His rank, he's 25 years of age, plenty of experience in these conditions here in India. Important that he gets himself in as quickly as possible and then acts as a support for David Miller, who's striking well at 46 of 25.
Often seen one wicket leads to another at times. South Africa don't want is to lose Miller at this stage. He's don't want two new players at the crease.
Oh, and it's a no ball. Well, talk about pressure and talk about relieving pressure. And this no ball will relieve pressure on the South Africans.
There's been one free hit tonight. It was David Miller on strike, and he didn't miss out. Out the ground it went. He's on strike again.
He's not happy. Not on Gambhir, and rightly so. It's little things like this that can really release the pressure, especially when you've got a wicket.
Bowling coaches, they stress it all the time. Stay behind the line. Where does the free hit go? Up and over again. Yes, maximum. 2 free hits for David Miller. 2 up the ground.
That was immaculate from David Miller and also brings up his 50. That is a knock.
It's a brilliant innings, really brilliant innings. And what a shot that is. He had to reach out for that. A lovely cricketing shot in the end. Didn't lose his shape, went through with the shot, cleared the fence, and striking close to 200.
Yeah, just had to drop that back knee just to be able to get underneath it and be able to reach it through that offside. Appreciated by that guy concerned should be. When he came to the crease, 20 for 3, he counter-punched and still sits there striking at 200.
Yeah, the uncanny thing about Shivam Dube is he seems like this non-threatening bowler, but often gets you wickets. That's exactly what he did. Brevis there, short ball, cutter into the wicket. And often as he's done in this World Cup, gets another wicket for India.
You can see the disappointment and you can understand it because it was almost a little bit of an innocuous length. It wasn't really short enough to be like a slow ball bouncer that high enough. Brevis would be probably backing himself 9 out of 10 to whack that out the ground. Not to be. Sharon Dube was put off there just as he was coming to get into his gather. What came across there? There was a butterfly or some sort of insect. The score sits at 193. Almost get the feeling when you come to this ground, guys, that 200 is required.
Yeah. Also because I think the straight boundaries are so small here. You tend to get a lot more runs, a lot more purchase. The ball comes onto the bat really well. There's good bounce as well. There's a lot of purchase for run scoring on this ground.
In order to achieve 211 over would be required from here on in. While Miller's at the crease and the likes of Stubbs and Jansen still to come. Will South Africa believe that? Wickets for India will mean that they'll be able to peg it back. There's the slow ball bouncer. And was a wicket in the over, but it also went for 17. 128 for 4.
Really well here as David Miller stood tall amongst the ruins after the first 5 overs, first 6 overs. Even during the power play when he came in the bat, 20 for 3, took them to 41 for 3 and 6. Then after that built a partnership with Brevis here.
The plan is here for South Africa because they understand that our team's going to come and he bowls some really good Yorkers. Burma's still got 2 overs. So they have to find overs from elsewhere. Now they're going back to Washington Sundar. Sundar's coming back in. Do you decide to target him? Who targets him? Is it Miller who's going to maybe go in against the spin? Or is it Tristan Stubbs who's only just been there for the 2 deliveries?
South Africa here will need David Miller to bat through to the end. So it actually gives him a good opportunity, just rotate the strike and bat long and allow the likes of Tristan Stubbs to get set, because you want these two, the likes of these two and Marco Jansen to bat in the last 4 overs.
The batting order for South Africa may be stretched a little bit further. Corbin Bosch, he can do a good striking job. In the old days, it kind of used to stop at Marco Jansen, but just that extra all-rounderish option. And you've got Maharaj, Rabada and Ngidi. But your point's so valid. The longer that these two are at the crease, and the longer that David Miller's at the crease, the better the chances for South Africa. You think it started to skid on a little bit better?
It has. I certainly think it has. I think it's got that due factor is there now a little bit.
Has definitely settled down. It was stopping early on when South Africa lost those wickets. But you're right, it's coming on nicely now.
Yeah, when you look at the floodlights up on top of this massive stadium, you kind of see a little bit of a haze that develops. That's dragged across.
Anyone there to check it?
You can see that, like it's a misty kind of haze, which tends to suggest that the dew is come or presenting itself. There's obviously a river just outside the ground, which means that there'll be a lot of moisture in and around this area.
Yeah, it was also pretty warm in the afternoon.